Well, thank you very much for inviting me to speak with you today as PhotoMed, the 22nd Global Summit in honor of Women's Entrepreneurship Day. Feliz Día Internacional de la Mujer Emprendedora. And while I can't be with you in person, I'm excited to tell you a little bit about what we're doing at Georgia Tech to advance inclusive innovation, to create inclusive cities, and hopefully to add some ideas that might help in other contexts. Now, this is a topic that it's dear to my heart, but vital to the economy in our city in Atlanta, and I would argue that it's vital to economies around the world. An inclusive city, a place that provides opportunity for people of many different backgrounds to start up businesses, to create new products and services, is essential for the future of our economies for at least a couple of reasons. One is the inclusive cities create opportunity for more people. The more diverse individuals are empowered to create business, that means that wealth is going to be created in every pocket of a society, and also that wealth is going to be distributed to places in the society that may have traditionally been left out. Minority founders, for example, are more likely to employ other minority founders, and the income that hits those families will have a pretty significant and immediate effect. But inclusive cities and inclusive economies also are better at innovating. I mean, there is so much that you can do to innovate in service of a market if you don't really understand that market. When more people from more backgrounds are invited to the table, are allowed to and empowered to innovate and create new businesses, the chances are much better that solutions will be found to problems that may have been bypassed by traditional players, by traditional businesses. So I would argue that an inclusive city is better for the economy. It creates economic justice and equality, and at the same time powers innovation and makes those cities more competitive, even on a global marketplace. I'm speaking to you from my office at Georgia Tech. We're one of the world's premier technological research universities. We have annual awards in research of nearly $1.2 billion. And we take our role as that engine of innovation very importantly. Now, until now, we were just focused more on growing our research activity. More recently, as we embarked on our new strategic plan, we decided that we had to fine-tune that mission in two ways. One is to make sure that we focus that research in amplifying our impact. That producing good ideas per se is not enough. That we need to find avenues for those ideas to translate into new businesses, new opportunities, and as I mentioned, we're doing a lot of work in empowering entrepreneurs in and around Georgia Tech. And the second very important piece, which is we need to expand access to careers in technology, and also expand access to potential in entrepreneurship and creating new startups. We came up with a new mission statement. The idea behind the mission statement is not new, but the statement itself is our mission is to develop leaders who advance technology and improve the human condition. We are committed to technology. It's in our name. We're the Georgia Institute of Technology, but we don't believe in technology just for technology's sake. We believe in technology as a means to improving the human condition, to helping our society be better. And for that, again, producing good ideas is not enough. We have to produce ideas and develop the talent that can translate those ideas into action. That's why our emphasis on leadership development and entrepreneurship development. So for the last 2 years, we've been much more intentional about how we can leverage our expertise, our history, our resources, but also our unique convening power within our city, our state, and really our global convening power to create more inclusive markets, inclusive societies. So just some aspects of our strategic plan, as I mentioned, include expanding access and championing innovation. Our effort to expand access, basically what it means is we're committed to removing barriers for traditionally underrepresented students. We realize that not every entrepreneur, not every successful entrepreneur will be a college student, but many will be. And part of our work to create more inclusive societies is to make sure we are opening the doors of education, especially to our elite institutions, especially to careers in science and technology that are normally drivers of innovation, and where minority individuals have been traditionally underrepresented in the United States. We're working very hard to change that. Once they're here, we're also committed to making sure, again, that we're helping everybody develop their leadership, their capacity to create new ventures. And then also we are committed, as I said, to making sure we use our convening power within our city and our state to bring partners along. We are very much aware of what universities can do as centers and anchors of inclusive and innovative cities, but we're not alone in this, and we cannot do this alone. So I'll give you some examples of what this sort of strategic and renewed approach in a place like Georgia Tech means in practice. For example, we're working with Atlanta Public Schools. We are in one of the most diverse cities in America. This is a city where even more than 50% of the population is African American. We have a wealth of talent around us. The Atlanta Public Schools are a sort of minority majority, and yet traditionally students from our very own backyard have been underrepresented. So we're working very actively with Atlanta Public Schools to create new pathways. We are training teachers. We are playing a bigger role in high school. We're not waiting until students decide to apply to Georgia Tech. We're engaging with other players to making sure we're inspiring girls. We're inspiring Black and Hispanic students who traditionally, again, have not been eager to choosing careers in engineering, for example, or computing, to do so. In fiscal year 2020, also we have an entity within Georgia Tech called the Enterprise Innovation Institute, which is dedicated specifically to creating economic opportunity. That's the goal. We're a public university, so we're trying to drive as much as we can economic opportunity. This last year, we invested $750 million in Georgia companies. We help them through capacity training and a whole host of programs. We help them create or save 30,000 jobs. We also have supported about 1,000 startups and more. And our state entities estimate that the economic impact that all those activities combined is over $3.5 billion. We also, again, once we are attracting, again, students of more diverse backgrounds into Georgia Tech, we want to make sure that they're not only potentially like great employees, which many of them will be, and they'll join the ranks of the top tech companies in the country. Our city is now attracting Microsoft and Google and Cisco, and many other companies are choosing Atlanta. Many of our students also go to other parts to work for those companies. We want to make sure that also many of our students become entrepreneurs. So we have created our flagship program. We're very, very proud of it. It's called Createx, and Createx is a pathway as you go through university to really build up your capability and your confidence to create new businesses. So we have helped already in the last 6 years more than 5,000 students. They have created more than 300 companies. They have raised over $150 million in capital. They have created millions of dollars in revenue. And this past month, we were very, very proud that the first company coming from Createx reached the unicorn status, reached a valuation of over $1 billion. And even though the American startup scene, everybody talks about the Silicon Valley and the other hubs of entrepreneurship in the US, those hubs are notable for their lack of diversity. In many women and minority founders sometimes find not a terribly friendly environment in some of those hubs. In our program at Createx, 46% of our founders and co-founders are women, 21% are Black or Hispanic. which are numbers that are far superior to what you find in other environments. Again, proving that if you create intentional programs within a context of a university and try to bring down barriers of access, that really the implications are beyond the walls of our university and spread into the economy. So this past May, we organized an event knowing that this idea of creating an inclusive city cannot be carried out just with our own efforts, as hard as we try and as important as our efforts are. We needed to bring all the different players at the table. So we organized an inclusive entrepreneurship forum where our faculty and students gather with entrepreneurs, with investors, with industry, government, and community leaders to explore how we can work together to build that. And one of the things we learned is that sense of partnership is essential, that any attempt to building a more inclusive city and a more inclusive economic dynamic requires all the key players to be at the table and to share that commitment. I'm very proud that in Atlanta, the Metro Chamber, the Chamber of Commerce, has embraced the notion of inclusive entrepreneurship and inclusive innovation as its rallying cry. Is they lead with that concept. Our lieutenant governor has created a task force that we are powering to create more inclusive cities. Again, it has become really a common theme and a unifying theme in the city of Atlanta. So we brought the whole ecosystem together in one room, and we realized that we have many more resources than we thought we did. Incubators that are, for example, the Russell Center of Entrepreneurship that specifically targets African American entrepreneurs and is doing a fabulous job. The work that is been done, for example, in the historically Black colleges and universities in Atlanta to empower students to become entrepreneurs. That we realize that there is a lot going on in the city, and just by bringing those resources together, that will be the avenue to reach our goal. So Atlanta, fortunately, is quickly emerging as a thriving hub of innovation and entrepreneurship. And in our shared commitment from that conference was, we want to be not just the next hub of entrepreneurship, we want to be the best example in the country, and hopefully an example for cities around the world of an inclusive city that opens its doors to people of all backgrounds. So that is what we're committed to. We believe we're in a unique position. I mean, one of the things of maybe being a little bit later in that curve to become a hub of innovation is that we can learn from mistakes made by others, and we can learn to do things better. And that is, I think, what we are achieving. So we're learning a lot. We know we can't do this alone. Which is why so much of our work involves harnessing the power of collaboration. But we know that our impact is fueled by transdisciplinary partnerships with every sector at every level in our community and beyond. And what we're learning also is that these efforts are paying off. I mean, several of the new companies that have chosen Atlanta that are creating a strong presence over the last month. As I mentioned, Google is about to occupy 19 floors in a new tower, barely a couple kilometers from my office. Cisco just announced a new innovation center quite literally across the street from us. Microsoft just opened a new facility for 2,000 software engineers, and they're about to start building a huge campus. And what they like about the city, and the reason why they're coming to the city, is not just to be in a high quality of living city, and of course great communications at the airport that we're lucky to have in Atlanta. It is to be close to Georgia Tech, close to the talent, but very, very importantly, to be in a place where they have access to diverse talent. So my opening idea that diversity is not just an issue of opportunity and social justice and equity, which it is, but it's also a driver of innovation. And the leading companies in the world are getting the message that they're not going to be able to survive and compete unless they're bringing many more approaches to the table. So our dream is that as we grow as a hub of innovation, as a hub of entrepreneurship, also our economy becomes more attractive to more of the large champions in the economy, and that at some point we will be already are on the way of being a rich combination, both large economic and business players in entrepreneurs. So that's what we're doing. Again, I really appreciate the work that Photomet is doing in pushing these ideas and in encouraging um, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and multilateral organizations to pay attention to the space. And again, to all of you, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for the hard work. And just a reminder that what you're doing matters and will be making a difference, not just in your own life and your families, but in your community. So with that, thank you so very much for inviting me once again.